Hey, it's Patrick from J&P Cycles. We're going to talk about how to install Vance Hines cage fighter intake on this Milwaukee 8 powered softail. Now, for most Milwaukee 8 powered models, the baggers and the softails, this install is going to be very, very similar. And you may say, man, you got that really cool 114 intake on there right now. Looks like a pretty good design. Why would you want to change it? Well, it's actually not a terrible design for a stock intake, but quite frankly, the Vance Hines cage fighter is a better design. For one, there's more surface area on the filter, and better flow will get you more power. Also, the paper filament on these stock intakes just isn't very durable and doesn't flow that well. The intake that we're putting on here is going to flow better and has a washable, reusable filter that's going to allow you to basically make that a lifetime filter. The other reason is aesthetics. The cage fighter comes in under 230 bucks and is a stainless finish, and it's going to match our awesome stainless Vance Hines pipe here just perfectly, and I think that's awesome. So let's get to work. We're going to need an 1/8 inch Allen. We're going to pop these two screws out and start taking our stock unit off. So now we're going to take a 5/32 Allen. We're going to pull these two screws out, and be careful when you do. This plate in the filter is going to come off. The backing plate's going to stay, but this outside plate in the filter is going to come off. So now we're going to stay with our 5/32 Allen. We'll pull these three screws out. We're going to pull these breather tubes off, and you'll need a 7/16 socket to pull the breather bolts out. Then everything's going to come off. Make sure you get that gasket with it. Most of the time the gasket sticks to the backing plate, but you want to make sure it's going to be off the throttle body too. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install our new breather bolts. These are a 7/16. We're going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on these. We're going to run them right into the head right now, and we're going to torque them to 120 to 144 inch-pounds. Okay, so now we got to do just a little bit of prep work. The first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to take this throttle body spacer, and you can see it has a little cutout here, and that cutout has to do with this casting in our throttle body. So this is going to go on there like that. And why that's important, it's going to leave these two vent holes up at the top. We're going to take our vent hoses, we're going to put them in right now. If you don't do it now, it's going to be tough for you to do later. And the short part of the vent hose is going to go towards the motor, and you can notice that of the two vent hoses, one is longer than the other one. The longer one goes to the rear head. So we're going to put this one in here like this, and then we're going to put the shorter one on the front cylinder like this, with the long legs going down into the spacer. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of build like an intake sandwich. The first thing I would do is put some blue Loctite on the 3.5 Allen screws you're going to attach to the throttle body with. Pre-blue Loctite those because you're going to have your hands full. Then we're going to take the backing plate. The backing plate has, you can see two of these ears are narrower or closer together. Those go towards the back of the motorcycle. So we're going to take our throttle body spacer that we just had, and it's going to go on the back with the vent hoses facing up and then lining up with our three holes. Then we're going to take our gasket it's gonna go on the back side of that throttle body spacer. And if you line up the two cutouts there, everything's lined up good. The last thing is our little billet velocity stack that goes on the inside. If you put that cutout facing up, all the holes will line up. And then you're gonna drop these 5/16 screws through everything, and that's gonna kind of hold everything together while we put it on the bike. And once we get it on the bike, we're gonna torque these screws to anywhere from 55 to 60 inch-pounds. So we got to do a couple of things. There's a black rubber plug in this filter. We need to take it out, and they send a little red one. And what that's for is it's flatter, and it'll allow the cover to sit down on there a little nicer. Also, you'll see a little metal piece in the filter. I like to take that, make sure that's orientated so the Vance Hines logo covers that up. And then we're gonna put this on. The screws they give us for the cover are 5/32 Allens, and they already have thread locker on them. There's no torque spec, just snug them up good. The last thing we have to do, make sure you plug in your breather hoses, and we're done. And whenever you change the airflow in or out of your bike, you always want to address the tune. We are actually tuning this bike with an FP3, so we're going to be dialed. As always, have any questions, feel free to drop us a comment. And go work on those motorcycles.